mushrooms, really popular in Korea. They are freaking delicious.
They are. Everybody uses
butter,
them.
salt, and pepper.
So it looks like just a large salad with a fat stalk. It's a salad mushroom.
Okay.
Really tasty. You don't want that with the purple head because, well, you're going to see things.
Raj.
You know what I'm thinking? We should pick up some sourdough bread.
Okay.
And we'd make sourdough bowls to put the stew in so you can eat right out of it.
All right, I'm down. Most of sourdough is usually not made with any live bacteria, though.
They aren't, and we can go over a little bit of that next time. But I will tell you this. It would be amazing to put in a bowl. So for those of you looking for a girl on the side or a girlfriend, you can make this at home, invite your neighbor's wife over, and have a great time.
That's how you get shot.
Yeah, I saw the greatest bumper sticker you've ever seen. I mean, I'm ex-military. Rocky's got a military experience, and so anybody who's listening can kind of appreciate this. It's funny, but it's also an asshole thing at the same time. The bumper sticker literally says, "My girlfriend's husband fights for your freedom."
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fucked
Jesus,
up, right?
That's all kinds of dicked.
That's what I said. But I laughed my ass off at it, too, because, well, quite frankly, that was funny as hell. That guy had a big set of frickin' balls on him.
Right? He must carry this shit around in a fucking wheelbarrow. My God. Anyway, enough on that. You got anything else on the food or the beer?
Not really.
Oh, yeah. You forgot. You keep bumping into it. The big announcement. Got our Umai bags.
Oh, that's right. Well, okay. That is right. You smack me because I deserve it. The Umai bags came in for dry aging our steak, and we're going to go ahead and use 2 of these on this brisket. We're going to do a standard dry age on one of the briskets, and the other half of the brisket is going to be pre-seasoned and then dry age. So what we're going to do is we're going to rub this before we dry age it. And we're going to go over the infusion of these different flavors. We'll put the dry age on there when we film it, show you guys exactly what we're putting in. And I believe that it's going to work exactly like a pickled meat, where you put all your seasoning in it like you do with a pastrami, and then you soak it in a brine for 7 days to 2 weeks. This will do the same thing, but throughout the dry age, it should draw in the flavors. And this is kind of unheard of. I've done it in the past, but I'm excited to actually show the public how I do it.
Yeah, no, that'll be it's gonna be really awesome. How many weeks does it need to stay in that bag?
We're gonna do the first one. We're gonna do is a 30-day age.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, one, we get to it a little quicker, but we get to go over what's going on. The longer you dry age it, the more tender it gets, and the more of that so-called funk flavor. So you could do a 400-day aged one, and you're going to get more of that. Well, everybody calls it funk, but my description would be kind of like a mix between wine and cheese. Almost if you took wine and cheese, you mix them together, it has that kind of a smell to it and flavor, almost as if you marinated in a little bit of that wine and cheese. But it's also super meaty. It brings out some of the beef flavors to the front, makes them even more accentuating.
I didn't know you could dry age something for 400 days.
You could dry age it for a long time, as long as you cut off what's dried.
Does it need refrigerated?
Well, it has to stay in the refrigerator. In these Umai bags, it has to stay at 35 degrees. Standard dry age, though, if we were to do an old world dry age like I would do it, you want to keep it about 60, 65.
Okay.
You definitely want to put some salt blocks in your fridge. I mean, it's going to be a whole other side to it. And you're going to need a little bit of bourbon and definitely, maybe some rock salt, because you want to kill whatever's in the air that might cause you the problems.
Okay.
And there's 2 ways to do that, too, cheesecloth or just open air.
Gotcha.
But that's something that's going to take me like a good half an hour on a video and a podcast to go over.
So maybe we can build like a cooler, or maybe use a wine fridge or something like that.
Wine fridge is perfect.
Okay.
And
that sounds really, really interesting.
I happen to have a wine fridge.
Perfect.
And I'm not using it.
Maybe we'll do that this year.
That sounds like a plan. My best guess, if you're going to be at home doing this, and say you bought a chest freezer or an old refrigerator and you're converting it, let's just go and use one like $100 to $200.
Yeah.
The salt blocks or UV lights,
real cheap.
Yeah, but you want to be able to do more than just one piece of meat at a time.
Oh yeah, true. You are doing a full year.
Yeah, exactly.
More than.
So let's say $500 to $700 all in to get everything you need to build your own dry aging fridge.
Okay.
But on the flip side, let's say your investment for steak, you just doubled that for the first 2 months. At the end of that second month, every time you pull an aged steak out, you're putting a fresh one in, and you're always eating top shelf.
Yeah.
You're literally like steakhouse style, 30 to 45 day or more dry aged ribeyes.
How do we go about
Sirloin.
just starting a home restaurant and not going to jail? Because, man, the people have paid top dollar for that.
You know what's funny? I've got a shop. We're not using it. Why don't we do some dry aged meats and we sell them? And I'll do a restaurant. Hey, reservation only.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there's not a steakhouse on this island that will beat my steak.
You know, that sounds like a legit possibility because I haven't met any of the restaurants downtown that can really serve any good quality food.
No, and
most
they're
of them,
super
most of them are just like mediocre. My girlfriend and I were out at a bar the other night, and they have their menu, and so we ordered some shrimp, a couple different types of shrimp actually. They're all right, but like half of them are just like they have freaking spaghetti sauce with a little bit of Cajun seasoning on it.
You're going to go to Ruth's Chris or High Steakhouse or any other steakhouse.
Pissed last time I went to Ruth's Chris.
Oh, I don't.
$500. The mushrooms were completely bland, undercooked. The steak was absolutely tasteless.
I know exactly what I'm saying. What's even worse is you're getting a 10-ounce steak for what, $100?
Yeah.
And you have to pay an extra $12 to $13 per side.
Yes.
And that doesn't even include the
20 bucks a
escargot.
side, actually.
Well, some places I'm just, it's at $20 a side. So you're paying $180 per person just for steak and like some potatoes and maybe some asparagus.
Yeah, and a tiny little bit of dessert.
It's just awful. It's a ripoff. I think I could do the same thing, all in, super good steak, $100.
That sounds reasonable.
I really think it is reasonable. We could definitely hit up a really good crowd that's looking for a top-end steak that's not frickin' Ruth's Chris or Morton's Steakhouse prices.
Well, especially making it, especially the nice environment we have, we could really set that up, like you mentioned there, with per reservation only, and really just give the people an amazing experience and you just make such good food. I don't know.
Thank you.
I haven't been to any other restaurant. I mean, you've cooked for me and my kids multiple times now. I haven't been to a restaurant, and that's with crap out of my freezer. Like, I have frozen veggies. You just make them taste delicious. My kids will actually eat spinach. Like, you make such a good quality food. Granted, whenever you get to Moscow, you can't do that. But
I can, absolutely can. That's what I was doing in my restaurant currently. In fact, hey, those listening, why don't you shoot us a text or some kind of confirmation of how interested you would be if you could take your honey out for like $150 to $200 and get that full-scale steakhouse experience.
Yeah, no, like that. Will you marry me, or will you take me back, or I'm sorry, or
I'm sorry.
Just in general, I really appreciate you.
That's right. I'm willing to do this. Let's give it a shot. Let's
Absolutely.
reopen Paisley's
All right.
as a restaurant.
I'm down.
Totally
That sounds
down.
totally legit.
You know what isn't legit? The fact that the U.S. Navy cannot sink its own aircraft carrier.
That is incredible.
It is incredible.
I don't know how they managed to do this. This was what is it here? There, I didn't open it up here.
Oh, yeah, I did. It's right up there. Next one over. That's the one. That's one of the two. So, meet the Chinese admiral who talked about sinking 2 U.S. Navy aircraft carriers and isn't dead yet. His name is Admiral Liu Yun, and he's Chinese Curtis LeMay. And I got to tell you, the Navy heard what this guy had to say. I'll let Rocky get into a little bit more. But the U.S. Navy took out an aircraft carrier, and they have been spending the past 6 weeks shooting it, dropping bombs on it, trying to sink it, and the damn thing is still floating and operable.
We've been genuinely trying to sink our own boat, and we can't sink the damn thing. Well, this Chinese guy, I mean, that is some dangerous-ass speech. I mean, Trump says some things that people get a little upset and bent out of shape over. It's just, he says some things that I would say border on the side of just irresponsible. However, my God, you can't, this Chinese admiral here is talking about sinking two U.S. carriers and thinking the U.S. will be scared after they lose 10,000 service members. What the fuck? That is some very provocative speech here.
Oh, straight up quote, and I quote you out of the article. A Chinese admiral and pundit told a trade show audience that Beijing could resolve all of China's territorial disputes by sinking 2 aircraft carriers and killing thousands of American sailors.
And
that's a bold statement.
Well, let's be clear on what they mean by territorial disputes. That is, they pulled out this old-ass map that had a 9-dash red line on it, and they said, oh, this is all our territory, the entirety of the South China Sea, Vietnam, Vietnamese water, Philippine water, all these islands, they just want to take them over. So now they're building islands in the middle of the freaking ocean and saying that they own it and building military bases there.
You know what, though? I got to say, as problematic as this is, China and Vietnam have been fighting on and off for the past 8 years, 9 years that I know of, since I was there last. China in the past 10 years has lost nearly 10 miles of Chinese territory to the Vietnamese because the Vietnamese, using their 1970s and 60s equipment they fought Americas with, is what they're using against the Chinese, and the Chinese are still getting their asses beat with modern-day tech. That's got to tell you, they got big mouths.
That's incredible, man. We need to start giving some weapons to the Vietnamese.
No. They're hard enough for the ones they've got. You know, it's like giving that ogre anything better than a club. Sorry, no, he's good enough for the club. Let's not give him, a 50 cal or, I don't know, anything bigger.
I'm just saying, they want to start pouring over the border in China and take their eyes off of all the other countries they're trying to rip off and steal from.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, let the Vietnamese be Vietnamese. My grandmother and grandfather both had kind of a saying, except they changed the gender on it. If you find a stupid man, leave him stupid. As far as I'm concerned, if you find a stupid country, just leave them stupid and without weapons. Let them do their thing.
I find it interesting, though, they draw the parallel to calling this Admiral Lu China's version of Curtis LeMay. Because Curtis LeMay is known for just straight up torching Japanese cities.
Oh, yeah. He's just like, hey, load those up. Let's send the 20-pounders 25 miles and just blow up everything that moves. Except for that little whorehouse on the right. I want to go visit that when we're done. No, he was very verbal, too. He was straight up like, I will kill you. But he could actually back it up.
Yeah, the Chinese, I'm confident they can back up some of that stuff. I mean, that's just irresponsible speech there. I mean,
it really is. That is like, hey, I'm going to fuck your wife.
Exactly.
Except the guy, the neighbor's wife that you're talking about fucking is bigger than you.
Right? You're kind of dumb. That's a poor decision.
I like that poor decision. Let's go fuck up the Chinese.
I'm one that's definitely not in favor of World War III. I'm pretty confident that would lead to that, especially because once we went to war with China, Russia would feel compelled to jump in that battle as well.
Well, Russia doesn't have a whole lot to talk about. The last time a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier in combat was sunk is during World War II.
Right, that was the last real war.
Yes, but since that World War to current, Russia has lost like 7.
Have they been at war with anybody?
Well, they have been at war, but most of them just sank on their own on the way to war.
No shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's impressive.
It is. How can you be a military? I mean, like, how are you a superpower, Russia?
I don't even know. You leave me speechless a lot. I notice. I don't know what to say to the response to some of the things you say.
Well, I do my best. So here's another quote on what America is doing to sink this guy. And I quote, "The ship was pummeled by explosions both above and below the waterline." The Warzone reporter Tyler Rogoway explained in 2018. After nearly 4 weeks of these activities, the carrier was scuttled. On May 14, 2005, the vessel's stern disappeared below the waterline, and the ship began its voyage to the seafloor. America stood up for 4 weeks of abuse and only succumbed to the sea after demolition teams scuttled the ship on purpose once and for all. It's clear that America was built to sustain heavy damage in combat and still stay afloat. That gives me a ton of faith in our military hardware, especially the Navy.
That's a pretty big ass ship they had there too. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think it fit a lot of fucking planes on the.
And that's a big ass fucking taste from that beer. Oh, it's still delicious.
It is delicious. I finished mine a little too quickly. I was too excited. No, that's okay. You finish yours. I need not be greedy here.
It's okay. With cancer and all, I can't drink that much.
All right. I'll take it if you insist.
I somewhat insist. And it's alcohol, so it killed all of my germs. You will not get scabies.
I don't know the place you put your mouth.
I get paid for putting my mouth there, and the girls are always happy when I leave. I love it.
That doesn't make me feel any better.
It should. It should. But I got to say, man, not only is it awesome that our ships can withhold that much, and it takes forever to go down, but the next topic I've got to bring up here is that this guy who was holding the password for this crypto wallet is as bad as our Governor Ige, who couldn't remember his password to Twitter to tell us a bomb wasn't coming.
No shit. Are you serious?
Oh, you don't remember that? It was just last year.
I had someone make me a coin for the bombing.
Oh, people were throwing their kids into gutters. In this particular case, people are throwing themselves off bridges because it looks like crypto CEO dies holding only passwords that can unlock millions in customer coins. You've got to go in more. I mean, it's like $145 million worth of coin that people are missing out on.
So there are a couple of details here that